So good afternoon, everyone. Question. How many of you have heard... Okay, now people are moving on. How many of you are aware that we are participating in a pilot program? Raise your hands. Okay, so before I start talking about the pilot program, let me tell you what we have here. As you all know, for the many years that we've been here, we've had what's called a membership dues system, where you would pay a dues to be a quote-unquote member of the church for voting privileges and running for office and that. Being baptized, you are a member anyways. So it's not to be a member in that sense, but voting privileges are other things. And in a way that creates a two-tier system in the church, which probably isn't necessarily the best for the church. A couple of years ago, Jacques Soberzan, when he was still our primate, wanted to address this matter of the dues-paying system. And there was a committee put together, which I happen to be the chair of, with several other people, and we studied this for a while, looked at what other denominations were doing, and we came up with what you're going to see here. So starting January 1st, and actually there's a run-up to it, but starting January 1st of next year, there will be 7 parishes newly participating in this pilot program in the diocese. And by the way, we have 45 total churches, so 7 out of 45. Plus, one has been doing it actually for the last couple of years. St. Hago Church in Pinellas Park, Florida, has been doing a stewardship-based program for the last few years. They were the first pilot, and it's been working out very well for them. So, today I'm going to give you a brief overview. The brochure you received, by the way, read it at your convenience. It also has a brief overview. It has a message from our primate about this program, which he fully supports and endorses, and some very interesting information there. And we'll get to the other part later. So, why? Hold on a second. I just have to figure out how to make this go to the next screen.
Arrows?
Yeah, trying.
Spacebar. Spacebar?
Perfect. So why a stewardship-based program? Why did we come to this conclusion? Well, a stewardship program has many advantages to it. One of which is it's based on explicitly Christian understanding, focused on the voluntary generosity of the individual believer. That's totally different than a due system, which is more of a secular-based system, like relying on a health club or any other organization, where you have a predetermined amount of money that you give and then you're a member. This is a Christian-based system that doesn't have a predetermined amount attached to it, as you'll see. Rather than saying, okay, well now to be this part of the stewardship program, you have to pay $150 a year. No. The stewardship pledge-based system is derived from one's heart and soul. It's a choice and a promise to make a financial gift. No particular monetary value assigned to a stewardship pledge as a precondition. So we don't tell you how much you must give or you need to give. It's based on, from your heart, what you feel you'd like to give. It's also governed by your means and proportionate to give. Doesn't it sound something like the widow's mite that Father Tavit was just talking about? She was giving from her heart. It was based and proportionate to her particular means, probably more than proportionate in a sense in that particular story. But you know, they didn't say to the treasury, okay, ma'am, we don't want your coins because you can't make the $150 minimum to get involved in this particular can that you could put your money in. So it's giving from the heart, exactly what this is all about. And we found, the Greek churches found, as I spoke to them, other denominations, St. Hago Church themselves, that it actually increases the culture of giving in the parish when people are actually giving from their heart, being told what they need to give, surprisingly. But the stewardship pledge system is not just about money. A stewardship system is based on the 3 legs of stewardship, which are time, talent, and treasure. And I think we've all heard that term before. Time, talent, and treasure. So it's giving of, yes, your financial resources, but also of your time and of your talents to the church. And we'll talk about that a little more later. What else does this type of system do? It increases the number of people eligible to run for office and to vote because it's very accessible to everybody. And why is it so accessible? Because there's no minimum. This is a situation where everybody, no matter what your means are at any given point in time, can easily participate. Whether you're giving $25 or $100 or $10,000, everybody is looked at the same way in this regard. It promotes a more inclusive, welcoming environment in the church, of course, because we're not saying to participate in this, you must do this. Our arms are open to all of you, for whatever the best is you can do for the church. And we have this nice little quick chart we put together, and you can kind of see the comparison side to side. Stewardship pledge programs, inclusive and more welcoming. Dues membership system, feeling of exclusive and club-like. Like, now I paid my dues, now I get to run for office and tell everybody what they can do because I paid my dues. No. This is an inclusive and more welcoming environment. You're giving from your heart versus paying like a bill or a fee that you receive in the mail. There's no minimum or maximum, which actually leads to more people possibly donating more. And by the way, I will mention to you, in the past, many years ago, in the anniversary dinner, we used to have people walk up and announce how much they were going to give, basically, and then people put a candle in the cake, and X amount of dollars would come in. Then we went to a system where there was no mention of what people were giving. It was private between them and the church. And guess what happened? The giving went up substantially on the anniversary dinner. And by the way, the same happens here. When you give a stewardship pledge, there is not going to be a list saying, oh, so-and-so gave this and so-and-so gave that. It's between you and the parent church. That's it. Private. So dues can inadvertently set an artificial ceiling on giving. A lot of people say, well, I gave my dues, so I'm done. That's very normal. That's not just here. It's everywhere. It's the same thing. So I think, in conclusion, you can see a stewardship pledge system is a Christian-based system of giving from your heart, and the current system is more of a secular-based system, more transactional in nature. So we say Christian stewardship is a way of life. You see it on the front of your brochure, just in case you forget. It says it right there. So stewardship is a way of life, and this is a beautiful Christian passage from the Bible. The one who sows sparingly also reaps sparingly. And the one who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each of you must give as you have made up your mind, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So it's all about the heart, giving from the heart. We are not the trailblazers here. These are the trailblazers. All these other denominations have been using this type of system for years. The Greek church, probably the more recent, they had to convert 550 parishes. They're down to a handful left. So all of our brothers, sisters out there have been doing this for years. So we're basically just catching up a little bit. And by the way, this is following Christ's example, this type of system. I'm not going to read you all this, but as many of you may know, we have bylaws in the diocese, and we are obviously not following the bylaws 100%, but there's a special dispensation for this program. The only two things I want to mention to you that are of note is what a stewardship donor of record, because this is different than dues. It's a parishioner or family unit that makes a formal stewardship pledge of any amount. An individual or a family. So if you have a husband and wife, kids, doesn't matter. It's not per person. It's not the husband gives a stewardship pledge, the wife gives a stewardship pledge. You give one pledge for your family, that's it. And everybody is collectively considered within that pledge. We put even children 18 to 21 years of age fall into that category. What that means in bylaws terms is if you have an assembly, that child between 18 and 21 can also vote, as can a spouse who may not have been able to participate before. They can't all run for office. You have to be 21 years of age to run for office. And why do we cap it at 21? Because there's no minimum. There's no maximum. If you can run for office, if you're 21, you can afford something. Family unit. What is a family unit defined as? All the immediate members of the family, including husband, wife, father, mother, children, ages 18 to 21, of the same age, I should say, living at the same address or away at college, because obviously kids at that age group also are at college. So that's the main parts of that. How about the annual diocesan assessment and the parish delegate count? You all know we pay assessments to the diocese, and that's based on the number of members we have. That's frozen. It's not going to change. We're going to pay the same amount probably for the next 5 years. That's what we're paying now. I've heard questions, so I'm going to just stress it because it's going through anybody's mind. Well, is this a way for the diocese to get more money out of us? No. The future, first of all, the future assessment formula will have to be completely rewritten when this, I fully expect to be a successful program, moves forward to other parishes. And it won't be based, I can tell you for sure, on number of stewards. It's not going to happen that way. And parish's delegate count, well, we happen to have one delegate. If we end up with 3,000 stewards, we still have one delegate for the next so many years, and that will have to also be relooked at as well. So what is the timeline, and what are we doing here? Okay, you know today's October 13, which is also on the back. This timeline is also on the back of your brochure you received today. And this is an overview. Well, obviously, we don't have as many people as maybe we would like from our parish here right now. And so I'm sure we'll be speaking of this again. But besides this initial overview here, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks or so, you're all going to be receiving letters from the church. The letter will include this, because again, not everybody's here. It will include our commitment card, which I'll talk about in a minute, and also a frequently asked questions piece, because our committee addressed a number of frequently asked questions we've been asked about and put it on 2 pages. So that's it. So then, November 24th, we're going to have what's called Stewardship Pledge Sunday. And Stewardship Pledge Sunday is exactly what it means. That if you're in church, we hope you're in church that day, you will give your commitment card then. Again, it's not going to be publicized at all, but it's the way we do it. And that will start with the leadership of our diocese, of our church, including our priest, which I have to tell you all, and I'm not going to say what, is one of the most generous donors in our current stewardship program. Just want you to know that. And Dewey too, I guess. She belongs as part of that family unit as well. But they make theirs, all the parish councils make theirs, and then the rest of you can make yours. Okay? So, you know, we all have to lead by example. And by the way, we are looking for 100% participation in this program. Why? Because there's no minimum requirement. Everybody can do something, right? And then the pledge cards, we're asking that if you don't have to bring them on Stewardship Pledge Sunday, that they're in by December 22nd. So what would this look like? We're in the process of designing our commitment form. You're going to see a page like this, where you simply put your name, your street address, all this basic information that's asked on here. This is very important. Like, let's say you're married to someone, you don't want them, what should I say, being able to vote in the church or whatever, for whatever reason you have. If they're not listed on here, they're not going to be part of it. A stewardship pledge unit is who is listed on the form. All right? I hope you all want your spouses, whatever, to be on the form, but for whatever reason you don't want to, this is what matters. And this is what the count's going to come off of when we have to determine what our quorum will be based off of. Not this next year, but the following year, 2021. And then you're going to see this. Something similar to this. So you see, here's a place where you can give your treasure. So you give a flat amount. You say if you want to do it weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. And then look at this. Isn't this a little different looking? This is all the different ways you can participate in the life of the church. And it might be in education, where you're giving Bible studies, helping with Bible studies. It's not just attending Bible studies, it's actually helping give Bible studies. Or Armenian lessons. Or let's say in the church you want to sing in the choir, or you want to be on a visitation committee. You know, we're trying to expand our ministries here a bit. So obviously we have the PADS program, which is very important. That's on here. But then, of course, we have shut-ins. What about visiting our shut-ins, for example? Or being an advisor to our youth. So there's a lot of different opportunities here, and I would highly encourage you to, you don't have to pick 10 of them. Maybe you won't pick any. I don't know. But here's an opportunity to look at. Here's all these different things where you can help your church or help others in the community. And so we're looking for your interest here. Time and talent. Stewardship. Treasure, time, and talent. Not just treasure. Okay? Which brings me to the person we heard about today. The widow's mite. This is who this is here. You couldn't see when Father Tavit was showing the picture to the kids. This is who they were seeing, the widow's mite. And this is very relevant to today. Because, you know, people might think, well, gosh, now they're not telling me how much to give to the church, or how much effort I should give to the church, or this and that. They're saying, it's up to you. And it is up to you. You'll notice on the prior page, it didn't say categories of amounts to give. It just had how much do you want to give, and at what frequency. Because we're leaving that to you. But a couple things I took away from Father Tavi's talk that I wrote it down quickly in church while I was there. He said, we're stewards of what God blessed us with. And if you think about it, the truth of the matter is we come in with nothing and we leave with nothing. That's just the reality. Whether you have $5, $100,000, $1 billion, $20 billion, doesn't matter. When you leave this earth, that doesn't go with you. And the same with coming into the earth. Even if you're lucky to come in a family with a lot of money, but you don't have anything personally, you're coming in with nothing. And so, as he said, it's what you do with your money. And I was thinking another thing, so what's at the center of your life? I thought that was a very interesting question. It made me think about that for sure. You know what's at the center of a lot of people's lives, I think? Cable TV, cell phones, Facebook, social media of all sorts, tweeting and everything else is the center of people's lives in many respects. And I think you can see it. It's easy. Just walk in a restaurant, go on an airplane. Where are people's faces? They're in their telephone. Everybody's in the telephone. Or they're communicating on Facebook. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, but it's like where things have seemed to have gone. And there's really something to be said for the people that came before us. Just because they came before us doesn't mean now we're supposed to stop. By the way, I have to say this. Jake Mardoian or Tom Kayan, as you all know, left us a lot of money in our church. But that's not the point. The point's not, okay, they gave money, now we don't have to give anything. It's absolutely not correct. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about at all. That's not going forward. You know, if the church has more resources, and you have the capacity to do so, and we do it, then maybe we can, help others in other countries, like building a home in Armenia for a family that has nothing. Then we could support a program like that. I know it's not Chinese, I know we're not maybe do Chinese, but I have to say, I heard this very interesting Chinese proverb that I liked a lot, and there's an interesting story behind it I'll share one day. But it says, if you want to find happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want to find happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want to find happiness for the rest of your life, help others. And that's really what the church is about. I think somehow we lose sight of this a little bit in all that other crazy noise going on in our life. But this program that's why we're not telling you what to give. We're saying look into your heart and you decide. But think of it in the context of, everything else we do in life with cable TV and cell phones, or giving, not that they don't deserve it, a waitress a 20% tip. We give people all the time. We give lots of gifts. And, that's supposed to be out of your excess in a sense. This is supposed to be out of our first fruits here. And so that's my final statement. It's just, we do the best we can do, but do the best you can do. Think about it, pray about it, and, when the time comes and you receive your card, you do what you feel is best. Do we have any questions? Marty?
Quorum bothers me. You're going to increase your
Right.
amount of people. We barely get quorum now sometimes.
Right. So Marty's statement is, and this is not a first time I've heard this question, and it's true. We may find a challenge with that. It's possible. And in that sense, the bylaws have a way of dealing with that. You have to have a 2/3 vote to pass anything, except for voting, I think, is a majority, right? Still?
For offices.
Huh?
For offices.
Yeah, for offices, a majority vote of the number of people there. Otherwise, it's a 2/3 vote to do something else. So, yes, Marty, that could be an issue, but we have a mechanism to deal with it. And we'll see how it works out. That's kind of what we're going to be experiencing as we go along here. Other questions? Rob?
It's not challenging. What's the plan? I mean, I used to be on the Stewardship Committee.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, we went to Charlie's office, we called people, we did this, we did that, we mailed. Why do we think we'll get more people? Let me back up. When I first came here, I thought the dues system was really kind of screwy too. I wasn't used to anything like that. And then I said to myself, hey, what am I worried about the $150 for? That's all it is. Theoretically, most people, when they pledge their church, are giving more than $150 anyway. So I didn't let it bother me. So how are we going to get more people to do their stewardship pledge? You said, because originally I was thinking to myself, okay, what's the minimum to be a member? Well, there isn't any minimum.
Nope.
But the minimum is one thing. Write it down and promise it.
Right.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
how it's going to work for Shrine Church, that when you don't specify something, people actually are more generous. We'll find out if that happens. But it's more education process, you know. Understand why you're doing this, why you're giving funds. And maybe this first year will be a little trickier, who knows, we'll see how it goes. But the bottom line is, you know, we're looking for 100% participation. And, you know, we never got 100% participation the other way, but we're not, there's no dues membership. You know, this is it. This is what you're giving to your church. And by the way, unlike dues where you have to pay it right away and whatnot, we're asking you just to complete your pledge by the end of the year. So when you make a pledge for 2020, then please just complete by the end of the year. And what other churches have found, most people are very good about doing that. Usually when they don't, it's because of a change in lifestyle, like maybe a job loss, or they get ill, and we all understand that. You know, the most important thing to us is that we're here. You're all here. That's what matters to us. This is just part of what we're called to do by God to do. That's it. But I said, the other system we had was very transactional. So pay a dues, you belong to the club, the church club, effectively. This is Christian-based system. So, and it may take a little time for people to adapt to this new system. Oni, I think you had your hand up.
No, what I was going to say was, as far as the quorum's concerned, it's not really an issue for this next year anyway.
Right.
Correct. So Oni's question was, does a quorum issue come up this 2020 assembly? No.
What was the
It'll affect, will the quorum and the count and number of members matter for this assembly? No. It'll matter for 2021. Okay. Because this is on prior. Marty, do you have another question?
Yes. Then, when it comes to setting our budget, you're not gonna use your stewardship necessarily to balance it, right? Because you know what's gonna be pledged,
Right.
but it could be under what we're normally getting, or it could be much more.
We'll find out.
Well, but now how do you balance that budget?
You know, look, every year we did a budget. Let's be frank. We would add a category and throw a number in it, whether it's called donations or stewardship, without any idea if we're going to get it or how we were going to get it to balance the budget.
It's due on the 22nd of December. You're going to commit on the stewardship card for $220 on that stewardship card. We then work the budget according to that amount. We're going to see what people are committing to for $220.
2020.
I'm just saying, you know, if you're doing this, I'm looking at it from your viewpoint, you want it to be you-orientated, that you don't have to do, you know, you're more Christian, then why do we even need to do the budget?
Well, Marty, I don't know if I can answer that question. But the bottom line, well, you have to have a sense. You know, it does help people see that to have a church, we need this much in funds. And this is where it's coming from, and maybe that helps people think more to stretch themselves. I don't know. But you have to have a budget because you have to have some sense of how things are working. Yeah. Someone else had their hand up. Was it Maureen? Dan? Huh? It was asked?
The question was answered.
Dan?
Is our church the only one that is doing this pilot program?
No. So there are 8 pilot parishes. And if you're curious, I'll just rattle them off real quick.
How long is this program going to go on?
Okay, so 2 questions. First question I'll answer, the second question I'll answer first. The pilot program will go a minimum of 2 years and maybe 3 years. We'll see how the results are year to year. Starting out of the gate, of course, there's our parish. There's the St. John's in Michigan, the biggest parish in the diocese. Cleveland Parish, Cheltenham, Massachusetts Parish, Hartford, Connecticut Parish, Richmond, Virginia Parish, Charlotte, North Carolina Parish, and Florida Parish has already been doing it. And I already know for a fact that starting in the next year, Watertown's going to do it, and I suspect if Watertown does it, Cambridge will also do it because they're in the same community. I don't think they want 2 different programs going on, but they're ready to go. Father Audica already told me they're going to go. They're going to use the whole year because they're a big parish. They want to take a year to roll it out to their people. Susan?
And then based on the results for those 2 or 3 years, that is brought to the assembly, correct? And then
Right,
make
so-
some changes?
Right, so actually results will be as we go. So at this upcoming assembly, we'll say how the first phase worked. But every assembly will be brought up. Of course, diocesan council and the primate up to date on how things are going. And we'll make, if we have to make some adjustments, we'll make some adjustments. We have Michael Shanasarian and Father Hoganon in Florida who've been doing this. They're going to the 4th year, so they have experience. So if certain things happen, they may be able to address it based on their experience. We also have the Greek Archdiocese who's been very willing to help with questions we have as well. And matter of fact, well, I don't know how to go backwards now, but the commitment card is really from their example in many respects. We're using it partially and adapting it a little and changing a few things, but it's because of their generosity and letting us work with their materials as well that's been very helpful. So I tell you what, this is really exciting. It's a change of an environment, change of culture. It's going to take some time. We understand that. You know, when we first did frankly, when we first did the stewardship program to begin with, it started here, then it went to here, then it went to here, then it went to here. You know, sometimes it takes people time to, you know, buy in, I guess, maybe is the best way to say it. But again, I just want to stress the last thing. Time, talent, treasure. That's the culture. It's not just a culture of giving money stewardship. It's the whole thing. And we try to, you know, use ourselves more also to helping people in the community, helping people in our community, helping people overseas as we're able to. But it's, you know, this is what this is all about. I'm excited about it. I think it's a step in the right direction. And I can't see, you know, having a more inclusive environment can only be a beneficial situation. This 2-tier system, it's time for it to go, right? It's time for it to go. If a family can only give $150, we're not now excluding one spouse because they only could give $150. That's much better. And by the way, that spouse may step up and do something more now because he feels more or she feels more a part of the whole, right? So this is what we're kind of expecting to see. Time will tell. Do I have any more questions? John?
When the stewardship includes the family, it includes the children in the family as well, correct?
Right, so John's question is the family. Let me just explain one more time. So let's say in John's case, John and Georgette, that's a family unit. They would make one pledge on their behalf. Anybody have like a 18, 19, or 20-year-old? Natalie, oh, my daughter. Forgot about her. My family. So my family, it'd be me, Susan, and Natalie, because Natalie's between 18 and 21 years of age. So our pledge would encompass the 3 of us. Same with Michael, with Father Tavit and Didui's family.
So
You see what I'm saying?
18 is the minimum age then.
Right. And that's in the current bylaws too, by the way. That's a minimum age to be able to vote. 21 is a minimum age to be able to run for office. So 18 to 21 is the range we thought was appropriate to include in the family unit. But you see how that opens things up? It's now you can say, you can participate.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Any more questions? I think this is exciting. I'm proud of our parish for participating. I'm happy I can see firsthand, since I'm the chair of this committee, what happens. But I think we'll only be stronger for it. And then there's some other neat changes coming up, which I'll let Father Tavit tell you when he wants to tell you. But we're moving forward, folks. We recognize it's time to change things a little bit around here, and that is what's happening. And we're looking for a more prosperous, successful parish.